Here we go. I know a lot of you have been waiting on this video, so here it is finally. The day before the game, my Alabama versus the Washington Huskies prediction video for the college football semifinal game. Alright, so I'm just going to go through all my things. I'm going to give you the score at the end, and that'll be it. You can let me know what you think. You can let me know if you disagree. You can let me know what you think will be the turning point of the game and what your final score prediction is. Like I said, this is just predicting. You can never really know for sure what will happen. So many factors influence football games. But anyway, so first of all, I'm going to start with the fact that Jake Browning has been dealing with an arm condition or issue, whatever you want to say, but it has not looked the same. USC on has been ridiculous with how he's been underthrowing, overthrowing balls. So a lot of people have been talking about his arm has been dead, so they need to give him some rest. So it's been a month. We'll see how that works. But the theme of him underthrowing and overthrowing receivers and being out of sync with them, that's been going on. He's been missing John Ross. He's been missing Chico McClatchy. He's been missing those guys on deep routes and on timing routes. And it's been interesting. So the question is, will he recover? And I say he will not recover, actually. I think that even if his arm, even if it was dead and that he's gotten time to rest it now, he still will have to work back and get into the rhythm of throwing to where it need to be. I'm not sure if he had adequate amount of time and preparation to do that. And some say it's a month, but it takes more than a month to get in the right rhythm with your receivers. Also, another thing to consider is that Washington has a smaller, more athletic O-line, and we'll be interested to see how they hold up against the best front seven in college football. The best front seven in college football is Alabama, of course. Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Dalvin Tomlinson, Tim Williams, Rashaan Evans, Ryan Anderson, Reuben Foster. The names just go on. And Washington honestly hasn't seen one like this. The closest defensive front that they've seen that resemble Alabama is USC's, and USC's is still nowhere near as good as Alabama's. So the matchup of Jonathan Allen against Trey Adams, which Jonathan Allen's our best defensive end, matched up against Washington's left tackle, and that's going to be an interesting matchup because Jonathan Allen, I think, is a little bit stronger, maybe even a little bit faster in terms of long-term speed, and so that matchup would be something to watch. I think he wins that battle. Sometimes it'll be Ryan Anderson over there when we have two outside linebackers on the field. Usually Ryan Anderson is the one facing the left tackle anyway. Then you got Tim Williams over Caleb McCrary, Washington's right tackle, number 58. And Tim Williams, man, is a monster at pass rush. He's so fast. He came back from his last year. Last year he was known as our pass rush specialist. He's come back this year to prove that he's a more overall better player, playing the run and pass rushing. And his moves have gotten better. He knows people are knowing that he's fast, so he uses that against them, and he uses those inside moves, and it's been getting pressure on quarterbacks all year. And honestly, I think the Tim Williams against McCrary is just an absolute mismatch. And I think Tim Williams wins that matchup easily. So it seems as if Jake Brown is going to be in for a long day. Deron Payne also is a monster on the inside. He's our nose tackle. This guy, he is strong. He is big. He is athletic. He can move. Washington's interior line are going to have to find some way to neutralize Deron Payne. But if they put too much on Deron Payne, if they contribute too many resources to Deron Payne, they set themselves up to be beat by Tim Williams, Jonathan Allen, and Ryan Anderson. When it comes to running the ball, and Alabama rush defense have the number one rush defense in the nation, no one really has been able to move this Alabama team off the line of scrimmage. Alabama's defensive line has set the line of scrimmage in every game this year against teams who like to run ball, like LSU and big boys who like to move. And Alabama has consistently won these matchups, with exception a few times where it seems like they were out of sync. Sometimes it just they hadn't their head on straight. But other than that, this Alabama team, when they intentionally set their minds to it, they stopped line of scrimmage. So my prediction is that UW will not be able to run the ball effectively. They may get up yard here or there, may get a nice run here or there, but they won't be able to chew out the running game like they've been doing all season, establishing their play call. So there won't be those holes for Levon Coleman and Myles Gaskin that they're used to seeing. They're going to really have to work for it. And they're basically running the ball will be tough for Washington to do. Now, what that means is that Jake Browning will be forced to throw the ball more often with that tired arm. Like I said, I'm not that confident in that he's recovered yet. Or even the fact that even if he is, like I said, that he's going to be able to produce. So he's going to have to throw more often. So and he's better with these short throws than deep balls, apparently, from what I've seen so far. Although apparently he has one of the top efficiency ratings in the deep ball, which means obviously one of two things means that everyone else is overrated in the deep balls, or Jake Browning has regressed in his deep balls, which is more likely, probably because of the arm. But even then, he has to work his way back into getting the deep balls thrown correctly. So with the combination of his arm condition, his timing being disrupted by the Alabama defensive front, and the offense being one-dimensional because they can't run the ball, it's going to be very hard for UW's offense to be successful. He may have a play in which the receiver just makes a great play, i.e., John Ross on the screen pass, maybe making a defender miss and getting down the field, or even on a deep shot in which we're playing man-to-man coverage and John Ross or somebody jumps over the head and just makes a great catch. Because, those type of plays is hard to defend. You can't beat those. So he may have success doing that. But consistently moving the ball when you're one-dimensional like that, Alabama thrives on that, and they will put you in trouble doing that. So that's going to be very interesting to see. Now, going on to the defense, UW's defensive line is getting no pressure on anyone. I haven't seen against USC, they didn't affect Sam Darnold. Against Colorado, they didn't get much pressure either, but they had to blitz really to get the pressure on the quarterback. And so their defensive line is not really causing trouble. They're going to have to take guys out of coverage to get pressure on Jalen Hurts. And Alabama's offensive line has been pretty good. If you go back and watch all my videos about the Alabama games, I've said that Jalen Hurts has had all day to throw. This offensive line has been pass pushing so well. Jonah Williams, right tackle, true freshman, has been playing lights out, probably better than our junior left tackle, Cam Robinson, who's going to be a top 5 draft pick. But this offensive line has been playing. He's given Jalen Hurts plenty of time to throw all season. So combine the fact with Washington, they won't be able to pass rush him unless they blitz, but it's going to take guys out of cover. So it's going to give Jalen Hurts easier times, an easier ability to throw the ball to where he needs to be and to take advantage of some of the coverages. Now, I will say this, though. Washington is better defending the run than they are at pass rushing. With their defensive line, they're better defending the run than they are at pass rushing. They've held some teams from running the ball pretty well this year, so that's going to be interesting to see if they can keep that up. So their ability to stop the run has been because they have these really big guys. Like I said, the 2 heavy defensive tackles with the 2 heavy defensive ends trying to set the line of scrimmage. They've done a good job of doing that. Now, with that being said, Alabama is also a good run-blocking offensive line. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see. Can Alabama chew out the running game like they usually do? If not, that will put a little bit more pressure on Jalen Hurts. But like I said, with no pass rush, that gives him more time. They usually have to blitz, so they might blitz Jalen Hurts. So as long as Kiffin dials up enough runs to keep them honest, Hurts should have the time to attack the UW secondary with the pass. Now, here's the issue. No matter how you look at it, the UW secondary is their best part of their team. He is the secondary, the cornerbacks, Kevin King, Sidney Jones, Buda Baker, JoJo McIntosh, all those guys. They are the nucleus of their defensive success. They've stopped teams from having a lot of success passing the ball. But no matter how good your secondary is, they can't cover forever. And if you're going to combine the fact that Alabama is going to get their guys open by the fact that they're going to have all day to throw, like USC did. Now, we'll notice that USC, their receivers didn't make a lot of plays, meaning that the cornerbacks were covering up. But because of all the time that Sam Darnold had, he had time to check down. He had time to hit the tight end up the seam. And Alabama has O.J. Howard. And I'm pretty sure they're going to use that O.J. Howard tape to, attack this Washington defense. Even if Calvin Ridley, Ardarius Stewart, and Gary Deedle don't have the biggest days, that's going to leave someone else open because the quarterback has all day to get through his reads. Now, no mistakes from Jalen Hurts will make this a runaway game. But he has shown that sometimes he does make those mistakes. Now, that could lead to Washington getting a short field and getting a quick and easy score. But you can't count on that to win you the game when you can't get the ball going yourself. So maybe a fumble, maybe an interception from Jalen Hurts, maybe both. And that will maybe give Washington an extra score. But at the end of the game, I think this game is still a lock for Alabama, actually. And combine the fact that on special teams, J.K. Scott will make sure that Washington will have to move the ball down the field consistently and do long drives. I don't see Washington having much success today. I predict this score will be Alabama 41, Washington 13. And that's what I think. That's what I think the game's going to come out to be. I think if Washington had Joe Mathis, Azim Victor, if their pass rush had been a little bit better, and Jay Browning had been more on with his passes, this game would have been much more competitive. And maybe if and their offensive line too, I think that's going to be telling the game. I think Alabama's defensive line is going to dominate the game, but I think if they had those factors, that's a lot to ask for a team. this game will be much more competitive. But at the end of the day, I just think that Alabama is much better in those facets of the game and will take advantage of the Jake Browning and Washington's one-dimensional ability on offense because they won't be able to run the ball. What do you guys think? What if you think I'm wrong? If you think Washington will be able to establish the ground game, if you think that Jake Browning will be able to throw the ball, let me know and let me know why. So there you go. Thanks for paying attention, and I'll see you after the game.